But if anyone has an issue with that, let me know. I can stop that broadcast. Basically, anyone watching on YouTube will only see this view, my view, but if you do turn on your microphone and want to participate by sharing your work with everyone else in the meeting, they will see that. So just an FYI there for you. Good to see you, Colton. Okay, and there is a chat down at the bottom of the screen there, so hopefully everyone can access that as well. And as I said, everyone is muted right now, but if you would like to share, simply just turn your microphone back on. Feel free to share as we go through. Today, our Still Life Sunday, we're going to be doing some drawing exercises that are inspired by our current exhibition, Elevate and Hold On by Nikki Middlemiss and Peter Tucker. And we're going to be doing basically a few exercises to just kind of warm up and loosen up, and then we will go right into kind of layering all kinds of different things and thinking about these shapes and these shadows. So behind me here is Peter Tucker's large wooden sculpture, Hold On, and you can see some of the shadows that are cast also by the sculpture, and that will be some of the focus of our drawing work in the gallery today. And as well, you'll see on the walls around me and behind me, Nikki Middlemiss's work. And one thing that you will also notice is that these overlapping ovoid forms kind of have a visual relationship to Peter Tucker's sculpture and to the shadows that it casts. So those will be things that we'll be working with overlapping layers and thinking about shadows and traces. So once again, thank you for joining the Art Gallery of Regina for Still Life Sundays. This is an opportunity for us to get together safely online, or now this is the first one to have a Still Life Sunday in the gallery as well. Next month will be our last Still Life Sunday of the spring, and we will have some spots available in the boardroom at the Neil Balkwell Center if you would like to join us live. And feel free to turn on your microphones and chat with each other throughout. That is the purpose, or part of the purpose of this as well. It's not a drawing class, but a time to get together to share ideas and to experiment. So I'm just thinking that maybe I will join as well with another. Thinking of joining with my phone as well, but I will set up this camera view kind of like that, I think. So you should be able to see this view of the sculpture and some of the shadows in the background. And I will also take photographs and pop it into the chat window here if you would find the photograph a little easier to use than the live video. Sometimes there is more detail in the photographs than the live video. Goodness. Okay, so I just sent a photograph to everyone through the chat window if you find that a little easier to use than the live video here. And the first kind of exercise that we will do is just to take your paper and whatever drawing medium you have, and we'll start by doing some warm-up drawings. And I would like to start by doing a blind contour drawing. So that means that you are not going to look down at your paper, just at either the live video feed or the photograph as your reference, or if you're in the gallery at the sculpture in the gallery. And we'll concentrate on the sculpture itself for this first one. So maybe I'll move just a little bit closer with that view. I need to help everyone out a little bit. And we'll also time it. And as I mentioned, we will be working with layers today as well. So our layer, we'll use the same piece of paper for multiple drawings as well. I'll start this one out fairly long. I think for a blind contour, we'll try 2 minutes and see how that works for everyone. So remember to not be looking at your drawing medium and your paper, instead to be looking at the reference image, either the photograph that I sent in the chat or the live feed of the sculpture in the gallery. Okay, so that was our 2 minutes already. So I'm going to change our view a little bit. And then another drawing just right over top of that first one. Again, I recommend doing a blind contour drawing, which means not looking at your paper and at your drawing, but just looking at what you are drawing. and just layer this one right over top. How was 2 minutes for everyone? Did that seem like a reasonable time? I'm getting a nod from Yvonne. Okay, great. So we'll do another 2 minutes of this one, and I'll just start my timer. And you may wish to change your drawing, implement or not, and we'll see what comes out of it. And of course, you don't need to limit yourself to just drawing the sculpture. You can draw all of the shapes of the drawing easels or the artwork in the background as well, or even things that you see in our gallery architecture. So I've started our 2 minutes. Okay, and that. Okay, and that was our second 2 minute time there. And try just one other view. Kind of like that. And we'll do another 2 minutes and see what that looks like on our page there, layered over top of the other drawing. Okay, and once again, I am starting our 2 minute drawing time. And again, if you can, try to draw without lifting your drawing medium from the page, as well as not looking at your page as you're drawing. I think actually we could probably do, our next one could probably be quite a bit longer, I think. I don't know about the rest of you. I'm finding it a little challenging to get everything in. And if you can see it, you could also try to also include some of the shadows that help define these different ovoid shapes here. I'm curious to know if any of you were able to feel like you completed a drawing in that 2 minutes. You always have to be very quick with these warm-up drawings. And I think it's a great thing to help you let go of expectations. At the same time, it can be, sometimes takes a little while to really get yourself dialed into exactly how quick you need to be. And again, I'm not sure how much you're all able to see, but you know, these aren't perfectly smooth ovoids. Both ends are kind of squared off, and some of the curves are not super round curves. They're a little bit stepped and squared as well. I see some differences in the wood. Sometimes the wood grain, sometimes there's like a knot hole in the wood. Oh, and there goes my timer. So I'm curious if anyone would like to talk about and share their drawing so far. Like maybe not. There you can see. Oh, okay, Yvonne has. All right, I'm gonna just spotlight you for everyone, Yvonne, and your mic should be on, so go ahead.
Oh, just, yeah, found myself really getting into all of the little shapes and kind of enjoying looking at the shapes and, yeah.
Oh, I love this. It's almost like looking at a sweater or something, all of those little loops all linked together. Wow, great job. Especially, it took me a little bit to get myself set up to draw along with you. And I thought, oh, 2 minutes is normally a long time for a blind contour warm-up drawing session, but actually it was nothing in this case. Would Patricia or Glynis be interested in showing us what they've made, or turning on their mics and talking? And oh, it looks like Patricia.
I don't care to. Hello. I don't care to show you what I did. I actually took some tissue and shaded it all in. It was kind of a mess, and so I just smoothed it out.
Oh, well, that sounds like a really wild, creative way that you went about making a drawing. So you drew on tissue paper, is that it?
No, I'm drawing in an old scrapbook.
Oh, okay.
I just took paper. Well, you're not going to be able to see me, I don't think. I just took.
Oh, so you used the tissue paper to blend it?
Yes, I blended it.
Okay.
Right.
So. I love this. Looks so powerful, though, and.
I have a hard time doing blind contour. I keep peeking, so.
I think everyone has that problem.
Okay.
It's hard for us not to look.
Yes,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, thanks, Patricia. Okay, and then I can also, let's see. There you can see, if I can point this down a little bit. See my drawing. So this is just my one blank contour drawing, and wow, it was so hard to even even get close to getting the whole thing in 2 minutes. I have to say, in retrospect, I was really quite amazed. So I think I'm going to maybe just flip my paper upside down and flip my drawing media for the next one. And I encourage you all to do that as well. Or if you have some sort of transparent paper, like a tracing paper, vellum, or even tissue that you would wrap a present in, some tissue paper, you could just lay that over top too and see how that looks. And I'm thinking that we'd like to do a longer drawing next drawing. What's the, do you want to give me a thumbs up if you like the idea of doing a longer drawing? I'm getting a maybe kind of look from Yvonne. Yes, okay, a thumbs up. So we'll do the next drawing. We will make the next drawing a longer drawing, that's 5 minutes. And yeah, as I mentioned, I'm going to flip my paper upside down. You're welcome to do that or to lay another paper over top. Right, and I'll go and set my timer for 5 minutes. Would you like me to move the view on the camera?
Can you tell me what the sculpture is made from?
Oh, it's made of wood, all different varieties of wood. So some of them are very kind of, so you can see underneath probably that there's metal. So there's an armature or a frame that's made of aluminum, and these kind of ovoid shapes of different varieties of wood are attached to that frame.
That's a nice view right there.
Right there? Okay, I'm just gonna move that just a little so that we can maybe get the whole tip and tail in.
Is this a blind contour drawing again?
You know what? It does not need to be a blind contour, this one. If you're enjoying the blind contour, but I know, as Patricia said, blind contour can be really challenging to not peek. So if you feel like you would like to peek, go right ahead. I'm just gonna move this easel back out of the way as well. So hopefully you can see the tip there. Oh, would anyone like me to send them a photograph of this, or are you good with the live camera view?
The camera is okay for me.
Camera's okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's
Super.
okay.
All right. Okay. So I will make sure I can get there. Perfect. I will start up my timer now for 5 minutes this time. Okay, and you can go about your drawing. Yeah, go about your drawing. I'm going to flip my paper upside down. You can look if you like. It doesn't need to be a blind contour. I'm going to probably stick with the more or less of a contour type of drawing. But if you want to do some shading and things on the interior there, you're welcome to as well. Okay, that is our 5-minute timer. What I think would be nice to do next is to go in for a kind of detailed view, because there's so many, so much to really try and draw and get into our drawing here. So we'll go in for a closer look. I'm trying to get one that has some light and shadow and reflection. Well, some of the hardware might be interesting to draw. How's that looking?
Sure.
Okay, all right. So we'll do this one. And this one, I think we'll do even a little bit longer, maybe 8 minutes. And you can go in and kind of shade and get the texture. And I will actually just take a photo and send it to everyone through the chat, just in case, you know, that's helpful to see the detail. As I said, it's not always great when you're joining from, or when you're seeing the live view on the Zoom. Okay, so image 9673 is coming to you through the chat window. If you find that a little easier to use than the live video feed here. And as I mentioned, we'll do a little bit longer for this drawing, and we'll also you can also do some shading and a little bit more detailed drawing. Again, it's up to you if you want to change your paper or not. I think I'm just going to rotate my paper one more time in a different direction because I am really interested in kind of building up these different layers of images on my drawing. So I'll start my 8 minutes. I'm drawing this kind of closer view here and getting a little bit more detailed. I'm kind of trying to draw in the shading where I see the shadow deepest on the bottom of this piece of wood here. Hi, come on in. And although I'm actually sitting here in front of the filter, I'm actually drawing it off the image that they put on the screen. Doing kind of the same for everyone. Okay, so we have, we're about halfway through our drawing time. We have 3 minutes and 36 seconds left. And I'm kind of liking about this close-up view is really being able to see these bands of aluminum. There are connecting or that are the base that for all of the pieces of wood that are secured to it. And even being able to see through to the other side, I can see these pieces of wood that are just kind of all in shadow because they're backlit from this perspective. And also being able to see some fun little details like these bolts that are on where these pieces of aluminum are joined together. And even this kind of shadow of the other piece of wood falling on a piece of wood in the sort of back of the structure. Really eccentric kind of shape shadow. switch to charcoal for this, and I'm really wearing down my charcoal. Oh, okay, that's our time. Wow, 8 minutes flies when you're making a drawing. That's everyone. Is there anyone who wants to share their drawing? If you do, hold it up to your camera and do that. Okay, thanks, Yvonne. Just gonna spotlight you there, and I see your mic is on. Go. Oh, that looks fantastic.
Well, I find it very interesting. I guess I'm thinking about the negative space. So I find that really quite fascinating. And the shading is pretty rough at this point, but it's an interesting exercise.
Yeah, yeah, especially because this doesn't necessarily look like anything that we can really identify. It's an abstract sculpture. And so really, you know, we don't have all these things that we're sort of familiar with about how it should look. So I think it is, as you said, an interesting exercise to kind of challenge us. And beautiful shading, by the way. I'm also impressed by the way that you focused on a pretty small group, even from the zoomed in area.
Yeah.
I was kind of maybe overly busy trying to still get it all in.
Yeah, I started just trying to draw one and then built it out as far as I had time.
Oh, that's a smart idea. Maybe I should try that next time. Patricia, are you going to share your drawing as well? Oh, and you also were smarter than me and just concentrated on a smaller portion of the zoomed in view.
Well, yeah, I started off with too much and then narrowed it down to some where the shading was more pleasing, kind of.
Yeah, that's great. Beautiful gradation of shading. It's amazing, you know, as we're drawing these shapes, as I was saying, you know, they're not really just ovals, but you kind of tend to think of them, or I tend to think of them as I'm going along as shapes. And by just adding that shading, you've really made them three-dimensional. It's a huge transformation.
Yeah, it makes a difference. I used one of these shading things to, forget what these are called, stumps?
It's like a spindle of paper?
Yes, that I have purchased but it is just paper rolled tight, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. I think some people call them blending tips, maybe, or
that's it.
Yes, those are great things to have. I've been using my finger. It's black.
Yes, that works too.
Is there anyone else here who's interested in sharing? Maybe not. So maybe I'll ask Yvonne and Patricia, would you like to keep drawing sort of this view, or would you like to move to a whole new challenge, which would be just drawing the shadow of this sculpture?
You choose.
Either's fine with me. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I would say then, we've got a little over an hour left. Oh, and Glynis, I noticed she had dropped out, so she must have had a problem with her internet. She's back in. Welcome back, Glynis. Okay, well, why don't we do another view, close-up view of the sculpture, and then we'll move over to drawing the shadows. So I'm going to move us. I think actually there's a pretty interesting juicy spot right here. Oh, here. There we go. Okay, so I think everyone should be able to see that pretty close up. And I'm kind of wanted to focus on this view that has a lot of the aluminum framework as well. So there might be some interesting things to draw in there, as well as the wooden shapes. And we'll maybe do 10 minutes for this one. So again, a little bit longer drawing, and then we'll move into drawing the shadows, which I think will also be kind of a fun challenge. And I'm going to finally flip my paper over. It's getting pretty busy on this one side and also pretty dark, pretty dense. So I think I want to start again. Okay, so I am setting my timer now for 10 minutes, this one. And kind of draw as you wish, as you like. I'm going to concentrate a little bit on light and shade here because of this great reflective surface of the aluminum. And as I mentioned before, even though I'm here in the gallery, and you are welcome to join us in person next month if you're local, you can come into the gallery. But I am drawing off of my screen of my phone, so kind of doing exactly, should have the same view as you do.
I think the camera is moving slightly as we go. It's
Oh, you know what? I don't think the camera is moving. The sculpture is suspended, so it does actually turn a little bit.
oh, okay. Thanks.
Oh yeah, that's wild. I never know what actually causes it to turn. But I can see when I'm looking also at the image on my phone screen, I can see that it is moving like a fair amount. I can see it's turning the other way now. I totally didn't realize that it was going to move quite so much when we're seeing it in such a close-up view. So this sculpture, the total height is, I think, about 9 feet, and you know, so we're actually looking at a pretty tight view of it. So what looks to be minuscule movement from another perspective is ends up being pretty big when we're this close. So sorry about that, everyone. I can see the particular part that I was drawing is moved totally out of my view. So I'm just going to start something else somewhere else. All right, well, I guess I can move back to the part that I was originally drawing, and hopefully the rest of you are able to also shift your attention to another area of the sculpture as it's rotating back. like a pretty good flare of light on one piece of the aluminum frame here. So I'm just going to use my eraser to kind of really pull that lightness up, value up. Oh, okay. And there's our 10-minute drawing. Okay, so first, would anyone like a little additional time? I'm seeing you still busily working. If you want a couple minutes extra, just let me know. Otherwise, we'll move on. Yeah, okay to move on. All right. All right. Does anyone want to share and talk about their drawing from that one or the particular challenges?
Well, since it was moving, it kind of reminded me of, trying to capture a street scene where people are moving around or something. So I tried to capture just different bits and pieces as I could. I quite like the aluminum frame, the shapes.
Yeah, great job catching the highlight and making it look so square there too. Nice.
I guess the one thing I find challenging is it's kind of hard to estimate length and width properly. I don't know if anybody else does.
Yes, for sure. I've been also kind of a little bit struggling with the scale as I'm going through, where I think like, oh my gosh, what is this? Or, yeah, there's also kind of some things that are quite unexpected. Like I said, this is a sculpture and it's abstract. So even there's square pieces of aluminum, flat pieces of aluminum, and round tubular pieces of aluminum. So they're actually all quite different. And sometimes the way that they're kind of spaced is also surprising. So yes, exactly. But I like your idea. I thought that as well. It's like as if you're trying to draw a person who doesn't know that you're drawing them, that all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, there's something else here, or trying to draw your cat or something. Patricia, did you want to share your drawing with us as well, or talk about any of our challenges?
Yeah, I even am having trouble with the oval, the little wooden bits, to keep track of the shape of them. And I would get lost in like, which one am I drawing? And maybe that had a bit to do with the movement, but sometimes it was just hard to just to keep track of it all. A good challenge.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think maybe it's time for something maybe not completely different, but a little different anyways. And my thought was that we could focus on drawing the shadow of the sculpture. And one thing that the shadow provides a great opportunity for us to do is, of course, to work with the negative shapes to make our drawing that way. And I think, can you see that there are two shadows here? There's this one that's rather dark, and there's another one a little bit lower down that's kind of fainter. So I will take a photo and send it as well. Just in case you're having some difficulty seeing, as I said, the live view is often not all that good. And as before, I am going to send you a photograph through the chat window if you find it a little bit easier to look at a still photograph rather than the live view. You might be able to see more detail. And as we noticed, because the sculpture does move a little bit, you might also find this kind of a nicer way to do this. And I'm going to start a fresh piece of paper for this drawing, and I'm going to probably start out, drawing the contour, the outline, and then drawing all of these little slivers and blobs of negative space in here. And then I think it would be fun for us to maybe go in and draw a close-up of this shadow. Again, we're working with a lot of things that aren't things, and that presents its own challenges in terms of really trying to understand what we're drawing. But I think that those can be really exciting challenges of drawing something that just we have no reference for what it is or what it should be, and because of that, everything is great and a good drawing. Okay, so I'm wondering, what do you think? I'm worried that 10 minutes might be too long a drawing here, so maybe we'll do 8. I'm getting a nod for 8. Okay, so we'll do 8 minutes for this. And what's also interesting, there are some different values where the shadows overlap, but they're all pretty flat and light differences in value. So I think it'll be kind of an interesting challenge as well to render this. Okay, so 8 minutes starting now. And I think, as some people have brought up, kind of getting the scale or everything in the correct scale is one of our big challenges here. So of course the shadow is really immense, but all of the pieces are fitting together in a certain way. So. Okay, we have a little over 2 minutes drawing time remaining. And now that I got the outline and I'm drawing in all of the negative spaces, I'm kind of discovering just how regular these spaces are and how they really reveal the form. It's really kind of surprising. See a bunch kind of stacked up on each other in a little row there. These gaps are voids in the form. Okay, there's my timer. So that is our 8-minute drawing. Does anyone feel like they would actually like a little bit more time with this one?
This is Pat. Yeah, I could use a bit more time.
Okay, sure. Let's do 2 more minutes and see where we get with that.
Okay.
Okay, so here we are, 2 more minutes. I'm sort of decided to kind of skip to the spot where I'm going to color in the shape and leave the negative spaces white. And maybe I'll use my eraser to pull them out later as well. I'm interested to hear how everyone else went about making this drawing of the shadow. Oh, wow, that was 2 minutes already. I'm gonna make this call and say, I want a little bit more time for my drawing. So we will do 2 more minutes and see how that is going for everyone then. Okay, wow, time flies. That's another 2 minutes. So a total of 12 minutes that we've done. And I'm feeling like I still have so much more that I want to do on this drawing. Let's let's share if you wish, if anyone wants to turn on their camera, their microphone, and share how things went drawing the shadow. I can, oh, it looks like Yvonne's got her drawing up. Wow, amazing work. I'm also just amazed that you managed to get so much in. I'm always feel like I'm so slow.
I switched to charcoal pencil just so it would go a little quicker.
Yeah.
But and tried to get the respective value of the 3. But I was trying to do what you were suggesting too, pulling out the highlights with the eraser, which isn't so clean, at least the way.
Right. Yeah, if you have one of those kneadable erasers, you can really shape it into a point and lift it out. But you know, it is one of those things too that once you put your pigment down on your paper, there it's never going to get 100% back to the paper again.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Would you mind holding that up just for a second again, Yvonne? I just want to see there. Oh my gosh. Well, again, I'm so impressed by your approach, where I got pretty into my drawing and I thought like, oh my gosh, I've sunk myself. I took on too much.
So can I ask, like, were you actually drawing the spaces where you see them, or were you just kind of approximating?
Yes, I was trying, although I did notice that, you know, even the shadow is moving a little bit, because the sculpture does twist a little bit, because it's suspended. So yeah, I was trying to draw, the the negative spaces and then kind of fill in around them. So whatever we do for our next drawing, I'll probably just keep going with this one. But I also think maybe, well, I have a couple of ideas about what we could do going forward. I kind of also like what it looks like without shading it in. I kind of think that maybe looks better.
It looks kind of sci-fi or something.
Yes, we're kind of drawing a shadow of an abstract sculpture, so it really looks like nothing we've ever seen before.
Yes, yes.
Patricia, did you want to share your drawing as well?
Yes, I'll
Oh.
try.
You
I'm
also
sure.
had, I think, a smarter approach than I did.
Yeah, and I noticed too, I was seeing 4 levels of shade kind of, and then a couple minutes later, wait a minute, there's only 3. And I guess I attribute that to the movement.
Yes, yeah. Certainly it could be just cutting off the light maybe from one of these spotlights a little bit more as it's slightly shifted. But that's
Okay, and
great.
I also tried to use the eraser to lift, and it made the spots bigger than, and you know,
Oh, yeah.
not kind of clean. They I just had a you know, a quick erase thing. I didn't have a nice little, even my 2 pencil erasers had paint on the ends of them, so they wouldn't work.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, you know, for that fine erasing, if you have one of those white gum or white rubber erasers, you can use an X-Acto knife to cut off a kind of sliver of eraser to get really
yes,
detailed
that
and
would work.
crisp. So yeah, you could try that.
Okay.
I personally, I don't have a kneadable eraser today. I just have a gum eraser today, but I love the kneadable eraser, and I always shape it into like a point and really lift out. Oh yeah, so Yvonne's showing us hers.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we kind of had some idea that we could, with our next drawing, be kind of inspired by the work in the gallery. Oh, here, let me. So I'm not sure if you've seen this exhibition, but so we have Peter Tucker's sculpture, which is abstract, and also Nikki Middlemiss's drawings on paper that are also abstract and have these kind of overlapping ovoid forms that are a little bit maybe about or suggest like light waves, like light bouncing off of waves on the water. These is she actually will tape down. So everywhere you see the white lines, for instance, on this piece is taped, and then she sprays acrylic. Yes, this is a spray acrylic as well. And also wets her tracing paper so that it becomes really crinkled and bubbly and sculptural. And the shadows in her work are also quite important. So she hangs them slightly away from the wall to create that, again, kind of 3-dimensionality, and even treating the wall as part of the work and the shadows that the paper casts upon the wall. And one thing that I think is quite interesting, and I think hopefully you should be able to see it here, is when we get really close here, you'll see that there are some black lines that they were the white of the paper, and she painted them in because she didn't like how they looked. So maybe here you can see this is actually a line that was white, and she went in with a paintbrush afterwards and painted it out black. And so you can see this very faint black lines in among the white lines that are sort of different from the black ground of the painting. And I thought this could be something that we could work with in terms of, you know, layering 2 things that are almost the same on top of each other, but just not quite. And I'll also show you, this is a really good example here of what I was talking about, where she's using the wall and the shadow kind of as part of her drawing. So it's not a square piece of paper, it's this kind of unusually shaped piece of paper. And it's actually two pieces that are hung to overlap. And then the shadows come down onto the wall as well, almost like an extension of her drawing. And that has like kind of this beautiful tripled line of shadow too, which I think is pretty cool and pretty rich. So yeah, what I was thinking might be really to just kind of draw, again, to draw over top maybe, or maybe to use either color in something that was left white, or to use your eraser to lift out something that was colored in, much the same as Nikki did in her drawing here. And then maybe also to end off, we'll maybe take some scissors or just tear our paper and rearrange things a little bit as she did here to see if we can make something that, you know, is something that we like a little bit more. Again, just really playing around with these methods and experimenting to see, you know, like I said, we have so many funny layers of making a drawing of a shadow of a sculpture that's abstract. So really, we can just get into completely alien, unexpected territory here. And I think I really do kind of like the shadows. And I think maybe the shadows on this wall. So this is a different set of shadows over here. So we could spend the remainder of our time, well, maybe not quite the remainder, maybe about 15 minutes. You know, I would suggest maybe layering over top, or even just taking your eraser to pull out, almost as if you're drawing on top of your existing drawing with the eraser, to kind of layer and add these shadows in. Or if there was something that you wanted to edit in your previous drawing, that you could color in areas that were white, or pop out areas that were darker with the eraser. Or this could be another opportunity to, if you have transparent paper, to lay that over top as well. So just thinking about these kind of ideas of like layering these abstract forms and making it into something new. So I think we should do 10 minutes for this one. And then my suggestion will be that we kind of look and think about, after that 10 minutes drawing time is up, what we want to edit. And then the very last thing we'll do is, if you can, if it's not too scary, to either cut or rip your paper and rearrange those pieces. And that's what we'll end on. Okay, so 10 minutes starting now. Oh, does anyone need a photograph, or are you using the live video?
I'm just using the video.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Patricia. Yvonne, is that the same for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so yeah, I guess everyone is fine with the live video. Okay, there is my timer for 10 minutes on our drawing. And yeah, now I would suggest that it's time to go back in if you want to remove something with the eraser, color something in, do a little bit of editing basically to kind of create now, stepping away from our reference, which is the shadows, and to just create something that you think is balanced and pleasing, the way that we saw Nikki doing in her drawing there. And I think we can do maybe four or 5 minutes for that. It doesn't sound like a long time, but I'm sure it will fly by. And you might want to start here just by kind of looking, maybe standing back or bringing your paper away from you a little bit to see, where is it exactly that you want to take this composition. It might be, as I'm looking at mine here, I'm thinking, oh, some of my values are not quite even. The shadows are kind of remarkably even in their values. So I want to add a little bit more. Okay, so that was some time to edit your drawing, and now if you're ready to take this step, you can use scissors or just hair and kind of rearrange this drawing, into something, as I said, not necessarily guided by what we're looking at, but something that you think is kind of more aesthetically pleasing, and balanced composition. So I'll give us another 5 minutes for that. Or of course, you can keep working on what you were working on. We have 20 seconds left. Okay, so Yvonne and Patricia with a really challenging last kind of exercise that we did there. How did you feel about it?
Well, I tried doing, well, I started drawing a new shadow shape on top of the previous shadow picture, but that just ended up, I just got a mess. And part of it was they were kind of moving. So then I think I had a bit more success. What I was trying to draw is just, especially get the quality of the edge of the shadow, and was kind of thinking about the wooden pieces as I put this together. So
there's a lot of texture in there, actually.
yeah, I enjoyed doing that. I didn't get to the point of tearing it up and doing it anything. But I'm actually pretty pleased with this because I don't usually do anything really detailed. So in a way, this is kind of nice because I find it kind of meditative in a way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
cool. It's great to challenge yourself.
Well, and I was also trying to think about, I was thinking about the fact that it was suspended and moving around, and tried to put some motion.
So give this kind of sense of movement in the kind of twisted spiraling line, and yeah. And I think also I'm just going to show you and tell you about this drawing here by Nikki Middlemiss. Sorry for that noisy wheel. So this drawing, which is kind of this fluorescent orange or fluorescent pink drawing, it's interesting because Nikki didn't like this and she put it away for several years. And she pulled out a bunch of drawings and she didn't think she would put this one up in the gallery. And, in the years that she had kind of put it away and hadn't looked at it, she was able to see it with fresh eyes and say, oh, you know what, actually, I kind of like the way this worked out. I like the way it looks. And, I think that's also the value of, just kind of doing things that maybe they're not really pleasing to you at the time, but you might be able to come back later and say, even if you don't like it later, that maybe there's something that you learned from doing that will feed into something in the future.
That always looks like thread to me, but I guess it's paint, eh? The fluorescent pinks and oranges are paint.
Yes, they are. So this one here is gouache, which is a very opaque kind of watercolor paint, basically, but it is a fluorescent. And Nikki calls this one pink. It's very interesting because this other one that you see that I showed you, that was that shaped one at the far end of the gallery.
Okay.
Here. This one she calls orange. And it is, when you see it in the gallery, it's very fluorescent, but it tends to photograph kind of red. So yeah, it is interesting, and it is funny. They're kind of placed deliberately not beside each other, these two, because they are, one is fluorescent pink and one is fluorescent orange. They kind of look the same, especially in a photograph, but in real life, they're quite a different color.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So Patricia, did you want to share? Wow.
I simply cut up two of them and glued them down, and midway, it was along the lines of the cow jumped over the moon, but they weren't precious in any way. So
Yeah.
I just chopped them up and glued them down. So,
Wow, that is so dynamic. And, you know, because I'm kind of seeing them on a screen, it doesn't even look like a collage to me. It looks like this drawing, this amazing dark shading just has this nice hard edge that's also kind of sinuous. Wow.
okay. Yes, maybe I should
Great.
turn it a different. There's a chicken in there somewhere. So
Actually,
Anyway,
I like it that way.
Yeah,
It's got kind of a nice shape to it.
Yeah, when
Yes.
it was the first way you showed us, it made me think of kind of skyscrapers at night. They're dark buildings, these lights burning.
Oh,
But there is
okay.
it's such an unusual shape that you chose for your cutouts that it could be just anything.
Yes, yes, it is quite abstract, isn't it? So, yeah.
Yeah, and not, you know, there's straight lines and there's curved lines and there's some kind of jagged, torn edges. Like there's a little bit of everything, which adds so much texture and dimension as well.
Yes. Maybe in a week or two, I'll think it's great.
Yeah. And I also, I ripped up my drawing and I layered some drawings and I was actually kind of liking the way that my drawing of the first two shadows we drew was shaping up because those two double arches are sort of a nice composition. But then when I started drawing the second one, I started drawing these ovals and I actually really liked the way it looked. So when I tore it up, I drew a lot more in of these ovals and I thought it looked pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then I've just kind of, these are just, how would you describe that? They're just layered on my drawing board, just with the bulldog clip holding them in place. But yeah, I thought there's so much motion already in the sculpture that,
Yeah, I like that swirl coming through the middle.
yeah, actually I see my phone is running out of juice, so it cut me off. But yeah, you know, it's fun to just cut it up and to make a whole new composition out of it. Now it's more like a kind of a spiral than the kind of more organized shape it was before.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, yeah, thank you for joining me. And I've got my smudgy fingers.
Thank you for leading us.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Well,
Yeah.
it's always fun to get together. And as I said, it's not a drawing class. It's just time to draw and socialize together. We will next month, May 29th, I think it is, be doing a drawing session in the boardroom at the Neil Balkwill Center. If you're able to travel in person, you can join us for that, but we'll also do it online next week as well, or sorry, next month as well.
Okay.
And if there's anything that you would like to focus on next time, I'm trying to think of what I wanted to do and I can't remember right now. So if there's anything that is of particular interest to you, please let me know.
Okay.
I would have to join by Zoom. I'll be out of town on that day, but I should be able to work it into my days. So
Super. Well, we appreciate you joining us, and hopefully it's not a beautiful day when you're wishing you're outside, or if it is, hopefully you have Wi-Fi so you can join us outside on a beautiful day. And if you haven't been down to see this exhibition yet, please do. I'm sure you know we're open 7 days a week at the Art Gallery of Regina. Admission is always free. And this show, the last day to see it will be a week from today, Sunday, May 1st. And as well, you probably know that we have our member show and sale coming up. So that will open Friday, May 6th. And if you haven't submitted to the member show and sale, although submissions have closed, you can send me an email. I could get you in.
Okay.
So no problems there. And also, I want to thank you for joining me. I want to thank the funders and sponsors of the Art Gallery of Regina, primarily City of Regina and Saskatchewan Arts Board, and also SaskTel. And thank you also to the original peoples of this land, known as Treaty 4, for allowing us to gather and work here in person and online today.
Nice to have met you, Yvonne.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
you too. Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. Thanks.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
thank
fun.
you all. See you soon.
Bye-bye.